Hello and welcome to another episode of Sports and Songs podcast. We're on season 6, episode number 25. Tonight's our sports edition. Andy, how are you doing?
Baseball's heating up. Town ball's starting. WNBA is starting. There's a little NFL draft over the weekend. I kind of peeked at that every now and then. Busy time.
It's April 28th, 2025. And so as we get into May here, there's high school baseball going on, but the weather is always a challenge. There's proms going on here in high school on the weekends. It's kicking off now. WNBA
graduation parties to go to.
All this fun stuff. So let's start off with, let's do a trivia question, Andy. Minnesota Twins recently signed Cody Clemens, infielder. I think he played second base. They picked him up from the Phillies. Who is his well-known father? Cody Clemens' father. We'll get the answer at the end of the show.
All right.
Twins roster signed him the other day, made his debut tonight against the Guardians. But let's talk some sports.
Here we go. First of all, this last week, the passing of Steve Mongo McMichael.
Mike McMichael, yes.
Bears championship team. Did some wrestling in WCW for a while, part of the Four Horsemen, former U.S. champ there. But we mentioned Mongo this year, too, and he went to the Hall of Fame. How his health had just, Lou Gehrig's disease had just beaten his body down. Mongo finally did pass on. Family, the typical family and his friends behind him and stuff. But he was such a presence playing football. But on that team, it was so easy to get lost in the shuffle. You weren't one of the three big names, but he would have been a stud on any other team. Kind of like Steve Avery with the Braves as a pitcher. Number one everywhere else, number 4 with the Braves that year. Mongo was that same way. Hall of Fame guy, great guy, this, that, everything else, but he just got so lost in the shuffle.
Underrated, flew under the radar, Hall of Famer, but rest in peace there, Mr. McMichael.
Yes. Also, Tony O and Kent Herbeck both suffering strokes last week. Kind of gets lost in the shuffle. And this was almost a soapbox because this really kind of pissed me off. That we heard about it like days later. Because, the Timberwolves are playing basketball. And it's Viking draft talk and blah, blah, blah. And the news people didn't want to mention this because, we didn't have airtime. We had to talk these other teams. These guys had a goddamn stroke. Hall of Famers. But we can't talk about it. So that really pissed me off. They got pushed out to later. I don't want to hear this crap that the Twins held off on the news. That's bull. You knew it and you held on to it, and that's bad.
Yeah, and whether it's a major or a minor stroke, it's a stroke. Get the news out there. Players of this caliber for this team, that is big news.
Well, especially with Rod Crew and his heart issues, that this team that just jump out on that right away and just doesn't champion that cause. They just kind of blew it off. All right, the first official rankings are out for Town Ball.
Yes.
As of the 23rd, let's go through them. Now, these are going to look a little different because of the team realignment. So there's going to be some teams that we don't used to see here. Some teams we should see here. I don't want to say waste my time. I did not transfer the also receiving votes guys on here. I went top 10.
Very good.
So, Waterville, number 2. Litchfield up at 5. There's some towns we recognize. And our friends, the New York Mills Millers, at 9. Josh and the boys up there at 9. So let's see teams getting up there that aren't normally. Somebody else got pushed around. So now they'll get some love and respect. We'll see how it goes.
Now, so for number 1, Cortland Cubs. What I didn't know about these guys, I follow these guys last couple of years. I had them going deep in the playoffs. I went and watched one of their games last year. This is a good team. This is a good club. I did not know that Cortland, being as close to New Ulm as they are, this is a lot of New Ulm, I don't want to say cast-offs, but instead of being backups or subs on the good New Ulm teams, these guys are here as starters, young guys getting playing time. This is a talented group, and they're very deep as well. So
yes,
that's why I think that they're that good. And hats off, number 1 preseason ranking. I like it.
Yep. Here's B. Jordan Brewers, number 1. Runner up, but that's because Waconia got bumped to A. There's the New Orleans Brewers, like we just said, at 9. So let's get 5. They still bother me. So still bitter. Hold grudge, right?
Yes, this is going to be interesting.
Young America, YA at 3. And Bird Island 2. Same kind of cast of characters. You saw a lot of these teams up there anyway, popping around. Watertown did get an also mention in the bottom. I know I said I wasn't going to list them. Doesn't mean I can't talk about them.
Yes.
And the A rankings, Meansville number 1, not a surprise there. Air Freight 3, Minnetonka 5. Waconia got some also mentions on here too, but some of these new teams coming up here, we'll see how it goes. It could be interesting. Everybody bouncing around, see how well they play with each other. The thing that kind of scares me is like with here now it's Region 7. We got A, some B's and C's in there. Those games, they don't count so much in the rankings, kind of like points. So do you rest guys in those games then? How does that work? We'll see how the story. I still say a game's a game. You play your starters, period. I don't care if you're playing an A, B, or C team. You play them all.
It's going to be interesting because we had talked in the fall that some of these teams in the schedules and the conferences would have very similar – the regular seasons wouldn't impact that much, and then they would fall into these buckets for the postseason. But as we've seen some of these schedules come out, they are changing to get prepped for that postseason. They're not playing a lot of lesser teams or lower bracketed teams. Some are playing relatively the same schedule, but some are really mixed up. This is going to be fun to watch because these are preseason rankings on paper. We're going to see a lot of shifting around as the season goes on, I think, of these.
And these preseason rankings, and no offense to our friends who did it, are just the writers in the area doing it.
Yes, yeah.
There was no based on, hey, you had this many wins last year, and computer ranking numbers stuff. No, it's 5 guys got together, wrote their list of top 10s, and they combined the points. Here you go.
It's a crapshoot, but these guys know their stuff, and they know from history what teams should be where. But because of the realignment, it's I'm looking forward to it. Let's just say that.
Yep. All right, here's some FCS bowl draft signees, NFL signees, because we know Craig's too good to talk about the FCS, so he didn't mention them. So guys, the Bunnies going to the Saints, undrafted free agent, which basically means is after the draft was done, where they have 6 rounds. This is basically the 7th and 8th round. These guys probably would have been drafted, but you could sign them for less money if they're undrafted. Doesn't mean you're an also mentioned. It's like you would have been a 7th round pick if there were 7 rounds.
So, this is interesting stuff. I like to watch these free agent signings at the end because interesting stuff.
Now here's the buys that all went. Of course, we all know about Gray Zabel going round 1 to the Seahawks. Cam Miller did go round 6 to the Raiders. And then they had 3 undrafted free agents there, and those guys have all signed. So congrats to those 5 buys and going in the draft. 2 if you count just the draft picks. But that weekend, 5 guys got offered contracts, and I think they've all signed. And here's some other FCS guys signed. The Raiders picked up 3 guys from the FCS. Now, kind of odd about that, if you look at the Raiders, they drafted Tommy Millott and Cam Miller, the 2 guys who played against each other in the FCS championship game, and they took these quarterbacks for the Raiders with back-to-back picks. They took 2 quarterbacks.
I like it. I didn't know that. Wow.
You kind of say Ward's half paper says, well, they wanted to draft both kids. NFL money-wise, you're playing with play money. They sign these kids for a few million or high hundreds of thousands. That's nothing to them. But these guys come in. This is going to be your 3rd string quarterback or your practice quarterback. That means that's your minor leagues for the NFL.
Yep.
To be in the practice squad for a year or 2, or maybe the 3rd stringer for a while. That's your chance to maybe work on it, catch and go on. I think one of these 2, whoever makes the team, because to me, there were heads or tails. Whoever you got, you won with whoever you had here.
Yep.
By end of next season, and I don't care if it's a throwaway game or not, by the end of next season, one of these 2 will start an NFL game.
Okay.
Write that down.
I like it. And you just said too that they've picked up the Raiders, signed both of them. One will make the team apparently, or more than likely. One, in other words, both will not. But the one who doesn't, who gets cut, high likelihood will get picked up somewhere else as another practice squad team down there, down somewhere else. They're both very talented.
Yep. So good for them. We'll go back a picture here. Here's schools have had a lot of FCS players. You see the Bison, of course, are in the championship games. The Grizz, Montana, UNI, they've all had 7 guys going the last 15 years. FCS football is fun to watch, and you are going to see guys who play Sundays. Not someone from both teams may not be there, but they're going to be pretty darn close. You're going to see good, talented football.
Good stuff.
All right. WNBA preseason. Here's the schedule starting, baby. Friday, we start playing games. Rah, rah, rah. And as you see that game there, Sunday, May 4th, 4 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. The Brazilian national team against the Indiana Fever at Iowa. Caitlin Clark homecoming.
On the campus.
On the campus. Can you believe that? Yes. So there we go. That should be fun to watch. ESPN showed a preseason game. That's never happened before. Everybody else is on the league pass. So. And this is what I think is going to happen with WNBA. Again, mark this show, folks. I'm telling you. I'm going Nostra Andy on all of these picks here today. Fox is going to start picking up NBA games, I think. WNBA games. They'll pick up some of the games. ESPN will have some. You're going to have 2 networks covering these games, I think, pretty soon. There's enough going on. Fox with their FS1. Yes, they got the UFL going on, but you know what? Pick up some of that other stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if you see Fox or somebody else pick up extra games during the season.
I like it.
The Baltimore Orioles, everybody's got their new cable packages for baseball, accidentally charged fans $8,999 instead of the $89.99 after launching the service. Here's my thing on that. I'm not Daddy Warbucks, but I'm not check to check guy either. Are these guys who accidentally charged $8,999 to? How many of those purchases actually cleared? Who had that sitting in their account? You know what I'm saying?
So
who had that on their account to just sure?
Hey, I wonder. Here's a good question, and maybe you were going to bring it up, but I'll bet the Orioles were notified of this by all those bounce backs. And
right, that's not how they caught it. All the
NSFs or non-sufficient funds activity. They're like, oh wait, we're off a couple decimal places.
Yeah.
But
the first couple, and it had to be bing, 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 bing on their email box too, popping up. You ready to launch? Sure.
It's almost comical. Now, I would guess that when you set up a website or a web page like this and set up the account to be charged for the Visa, it's monitored, it's double checked by the manager, it's given a green light by some department head. My question still is, how does something like this just simply fall through the cracks?
Now,
$9,000.
I've done it on some things. I noticed. I think it's on Venmo. There's no change on there. It's just pure dollars. But other things, if you transfer funds from one of your checking accounts to the other one, if you want to transfer $10, you got to put 1000.
Oh yeah, yes. So
I don't know if this guy thought the decimal was automatically in there and hit that.
Well, what I'm saying is, though, on the website that from the Baltimore Orioles end, not the person buying it making it.
Okay.
Setting up that site to go, it's in a preview draft mode on the web before they launch it and go live. Managers and folks are checking over to make sure that the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed. Everything has to be perfect before that page goes live. The main thing is the amount. Is the amount right?
But I think the thing they're advertising.
How does that get missed? That's my question.
I think they were advertising $89.99, but on the transaction fee part is where the mistake was made.
Oh, gotcha.
So that part.
So the website probably said it right and the advertising said it right, but the transaction was goofy and that doesn't probably get checked, I'm guessing, and that's where it was wrong. But that's a
Which
big time
reminds me,
fail. There could be someone, losing their job because of that. That's a huge.
this isn't a oops, haha mistake. Kind of reminds me of my favorite episode of WKRP in Cincinnati. When Johnny Fever said they're giving away $5,000. It was supposed to be $50.
Just exactly the same. Yes. Very interesting.
And one more marketing snafu. Now, before I go to this next one, I'm not a big dog guy. I'm a cat guy. Just so you know. This was, oh my, how can you make this mistake? But I find it a little funny too. The Washington Nationals did fireworks show the same night they had pups in the park.
See that?
Now, I'm not saying that I'm a non-dog guy. That is a little bit funny. I mean, I feel bad for all the dogs and the people that don't get. Yes, that's terrible. But it is kind of funny they screwed that up and put two things at the same. And here's, again, the marketing thing. You're going to the game. You see all the promotions getting there. Hey, it's fireworks night. Let's bring the dog.
See, that I could see, Andy, as a minor league, independent league, Appalachian League snafu that they made a mistake. This is Major League Baseball. I mean, they put these events and the calendars together months in advance.
And no one, when they're listening to all those promotions, didn't go, hey, that's not a good idea.
Well, believe me, that's a mistake you only make once, right?
Yeah, like I said, I feel sorry for the dogs and the people there. But it is about 3% fun. You just go, oh my God, are you serious?
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's just I'm sorry, that's just me. It wasn't soapbox worthy, but I thought that was kind of like a.
Well, that's a good one. Like I said, in a minor league thing, you'd see that's where you see snafus like this, like the Baltimore Orioles charging the wrong price.
Right.
Those kinds of things happen because it is what it is, but. As much that the Major League Baseball is under such a microscope that everything they do is looked at and analyzed, how do these mistakes get made? So let's go back to
this weekend of the NFL draft where you're stuck under you're stuck in their shadow. You don't want to make mistakes, and these are the mistakes you're making during NFL draft weekend.
It's now one of the drafts. The draft weekend is it was last Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and so the big news was. Colorado Buffaloes, Deion Sanders coaches there, his son, Shadir Sanders, quarterback. Yes. You had a soapbox episode last week, I believe, saying, do you really need to retire the guy's jersey, Ring of Honor kind of a thing?
12-11 record, or 12-13 record or something like that, yeah.
One loss, I think, in a playoff game, 500 record, nothing that big. And that was fair, just to leave it at that. It was not worthy of a Ring of Honor. But they said he's going to be a first-round draft pick. He's going to go, way high up in the draft. He didn't go till the 5th round. Very embarrassing. He did receive.
That was the 6th, 5th or 6th round.
5th or 6th. It was Saturday. So you're sitting through. This is your 3rd day of waiting for that phone to ring. Now he was the victim of that phone call. Someone said, "Hey, got you on the line. Draft day. Are you excited? I've been waiting for the call." Yeah. He says, "Well, you're gonna have to keep waiting." It was a prank.
Yep.
So
and the funniest thing was him and his idiot brother. You're supposed to be a top pick, if not top 3 pick, and you go the 3rd day. They still had their little choreographed dance they did afterwards. I thought that was hilarious.
So
really,
it's gotten to be such a promotional, produced thing. When do you get your call? Where are the cameras so they can get your reaction and things like that? And usually they know who's going in the 1st round. Early 2nd. After that, it really doesn't pan out because no one's watching it. Well, this is a guy that gets drafted on Saturday. Very embarrassing. And he went to the Cleveland Browns, I think. And so, not to make things worse, but anyway, that was goofy. Vikings made their picks. They did some trades.
Cleveland drafted 2 quarterbacks that round too.
Yeah, so it's an interesting thing. Mel Kiper gets his big day in the sun for those 3 days. It's all NFL this and NFL that. And like Andy mentioned at the top of the show, when those 7 rounds then are done, that the rest of the players that have opted in or put their names in the hat for the pool for the draft are eligible to be picked up, snapped up, one first come, first served by football teams. So all that now is done. And so it brings a lot of answers to things. I was just mentioning to my wife, if you're on the on the fringe and you don't get picked up in the draft, they don't sign you as a free agent, but you opted in for the draft, your options are pretty much, that you can now start looking for a job. You're on that fringe thinking, am I going to go pro? Well, not so much. Free agent, you don't even get picked up. By this time, it's probably your girlfriend saying, I think we go to the UFL or try something different now.
Canada, maybe.
You don't even get picked up there. I'm not saying you're not a bad athlete, but that you can start pursuing a real job or play football at another level, because a lot of players are picked. And so it kind of solidifies your life schedule there if you do not get picked in that round. The NHL, hockey, lots of hockey going on. Now, I'm not a fan of these big 7-game series, but the Wild are in the mix against the Vegas Golden Knights. They're down 2-1. The Wolves, we don't talk much NBA here. 7-game series against the Lakers. They're up 3-1. And so we'll see. We'll be hearing more and more about that this whole week with the sports in the state of Minnesota. The Federal League baseball started. This is over 35, Minnesota. I like it. In the past, you could kind of pick your own days to start as long as it's not before a certain date.
Right.
They've been trying to get to this last Sunday in April, to have all the teams or most of the majority of the teams kick off. So they had a kickoff. That's kind of fun to watch on Twitter, some of the scores coming in there. Town ball baseball is underway there too. Some teams have played once or maybe twice, and some have not played at all yet. The UFL, Andy, we touch on this a little bit, but like you said, it's a 10-game regular season schedule. They've completed 5 weeks. They're halfway done. And they have a quick playoffs. It's just a 2-week playoff. And like you said, those channels, Fox, FS1, is picking up games. They could pick up WNBA games. And I think that they will once that season gets over on the football. Football's only
like
Friday.
NASCAR splits between them.
Yes, it's only Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for the UFL. There's never a Monday through Thursday game for the most part. So those weeknight games, and then the weekends, once the season's over, you may see some of that come in to play as well. And then Major League Baseball.
I got one UFL note for you. I got one UFL note I noticed the other day. I was reading. I guess after the Michigan-St. Louis game, there was a fight with the fans involved.
Ooh.
Fans and players involved. And the UFL came out with a typical statement.
Okay.
Say it with me now. Yes, we are aware of the situation and we are looking into it. That was their official statement.
From their attorneys, copy and paste.
From, the second file. Let's go with option 2. Yes, we are aware of the situation. So, what's going to happen to that? I don't know.
Interesting.
Maybe they're throwing white claws at those games. I don't know.
Yeah, and some of those get wild. I know that St. Louis is the big instigator for home games, meaning good, and also bad because it's a lot of drunken fans tailgating. The other teams, they don't draw that many fans, so it must have been St. Louis if they were involved, but they love their football. So,
and you mentioned hockey a little bit ago before we get too far down the line. The Wild and Golden Knights are tied at 2.
Oh, they are?
Each.
Okay.
And this happened. I mentioned this last week. Remember I said about people saying, well, if they're all complaining the games were so late, such a late start.
Yep.
Well, if we're down in the first period, you weren't going to watch anyway. Well, I guess I did not watch the game, so I cannot confirm or deny. But Minnesota Wild fans keep saying, oh, well, the refs cost us the game. Again, took that out of the Viking fan playbook when they lost. Oh, it was the refs' fault.
Yeah.
Okay, like I've said it once, I'll say it a billion times. Bad refereeing, if it's against you, good teams win those games. If the refs decided the game, you shouldn't have won it anyway then.
In other words,
good teams will overcome that and win. If the refs cost you the game, unless they said, I'm sorry, you can't have your goalie in anymore and you have to play 2 people short, the refs did not cost you the game. Well, that was a bad call. It was close enough to be a call, so they called it. So it's not they called hooking and you weren't even near him. Something was close enough to make the ref want to make that call. They did.
When
you watch it down to slow motion to a millionth of a second, he wasn't offsides. Okay, but you watch it like that. Was he offsides or not? Whatever the call was, don't blame the refs. You lost the game.
Yeah, if you're up 6-1 and the refs make a bad call, you're not going to hear about it because you have a healthy lead. Same with NBA basketball. If the refs are causing games to lose, you need to build up a bigger lead. If the game was that close and the refs lost it, then the message should be your team should have built a bigger lead. It shouldn't have come down that close to the end anyway. At the end of most games, whether you're the winner team or the loser team, it's a crapshoot if you're going to win or lose. Anyway, it's 50-50. And more than likely, the refs will be involved in a call or non-call at the end. But please don't use that as an excuse, fans. It's just move forward to the next game.
Don't get yourself in that situation.
If you don't get yourself in that situation, those things don't happen. So that's, I think, all that we've got there. Lots happening here in the world of sports. High school we haven't touched on. We'll be covering a little more of that next week as well. But
now, what's the weather? Town ball stuff, we'll get into more.
Town ball should be fun.
Town ball bonuses.
Lots of good things here coming up. Look for bonus episodes then as well. That's all we got for. Let's do the trivia.
Trivia answer.
Twins signed Cody Clemens, infielder from the Phillies. Kind of bounced around. He's not a star. He's not a slouch, but he's an average ball player. He's got a famous dad. Who's the father of Cody, Andy?
Cody with a K, by the way.
Yes.
In fact, this guy named all of his kids with a K name.
Why is that?
It'd be the Rocket Man, Roger Clemens.
Roger Clemens. So Roger Clemens' son is now with the Twins. Not that means anything. We thought it'd be a good trivia question. When he first came up to the majors, I think it was kind of big news, but we don't hear much about him now. But there's Biggio's kid, Guerrero's kid, Bichette's kid. Yep. We're seeing these second-generation players come in now. But Cody's one of them. Look for him to be a utility kind of a guy. He did make his debut for the Twins here tonight. But he's played in the majors before, so.
There's one stat. I'm trying to see if I can find it real quick here. I can't see offhand. I know because Cody came in and pitched a game a couple years ago. He is part of the highest combined strikeout total for father-son.
I'm sure it is the combination.
He struck out one guy, so now father-son even if he didn't strike out anybody, he's listed as father-son strikeout combination. So we have a record holder on our team.
Yes.
We'll do a special on him.
Good stuff. We'll keep you posted. Next Monday, next show. We'll see you then next Monday.
Toodles.